It's finally here, the season we've all been waiting for. Woohoo! Hot times, summer in the city and the country too. So what do we do now? Well, don't sweat that. You know the Weather Channel's got you covered. 'Tis the season where many of us hope to bring it down a notch to a more leisurely pace perhaps, unless of course you're one of the boys of summer. Either way, nearly all of us plan to get outside more and have a little more fun. It's no holiday from the weather though, and this season has a little bit of everything. There's no break from thunderstorms and even tornadoes for some parts of the country. And of course, the coastal areas know summer can bring the greatest weather threat, hurricanes. And these are the hottest months of the year for most of the U.S. Soaring temperatures can sometimes bring deadly heat waves as well as drought conditions to some areas. Yet, even though we know all of this, it doesn't stop our great affair of the heart with this season and all its contradictions. Stick around, folks, because Why I Love Summer starts now. Hi, I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. Today we're celebrating a season that a lot of you have been waiting for. I know it seems like it's taken forever, but summer is here. And if you're still not sure what to do with yourself, don't worry because the Weather Channel has you covered. Summer arrived in the U.S. with a mixed bag. While Florida and many other parts of the country saw unseasonably hot weather, some of the Northeast welcomed summer with cool and in some cases, wet weather. Meanwhile, much of the West saw unseasonably cool weather. But nothing can put a damper on America's great love affair with summertime. Let's have a look at some of the things that make this season so fun. What are some of summer's regional rituals? Of course, summer is a season of family vacations. Sometimes it means traveling together, sometimes it means camps for the kids or camping for the entire clan. The one thing summer brings is more time in the great outdoors for nearly all of us. It can also bring back all things water. This is a time of year when Americans in droves go looking for places to get wet. Swimming pools, lakes, water parks, boating. Of course, this is a time of year when the boys of summer return with America's favorite pastime, baseball. Often, family vacation means a trip to an area ballpark. And sometimes just a trip to a local park or even a backyard for another favorite pastime of ours, the Great American Cookout, when every chef or wannabe likes to get their grill on. The one common thread running through all of this, of course, is a need for good weather. And here's hoping we'll get plenty of that in the coming weeks. When we started putting this half hour together, we wanted to find out how Americans were planning to use this time of the year, how everyone's planning to spend their summer. Every part of the country boasts something special for the summer, but New Yorkers say there is nothing as special as summertime in the Hamptons. Reporter Katie Turr went to the Hamptons to see what all the fuss is about.
July in New York City. July on the beach in the Hamptons. Just shh.
The Hamptons is the only place that I can get away from stress.
The tension of the week just goes away when you arrive. Once you get through that traffic, when you arrive at this beach, you just feel a catharsis. It's just a wonderful thing.
During the summer months, the roughly 35 miles of sand to squish your toes in becomes the place to be for a fried-out New Yorker. A place where the oppressive heat and humidity of Manhattan are long forgotten, only to be replaced by temperatures in the 70s and a cool ocean breeze.
People rate, and I don't know who these people are, but travel writers rate the beaches of Eastern Long Island among the top in the world. And you know, my other favorite place in the universe is St. Bart's. And while the beaches there are exquisite, they still don't compare to the beach that I'm standing on right now.
You can't beat a day like today. Beautiful waves, clean sand, cute dogs running around, cute
boys.
Plus all the babes walking by.
34 is down, coming out.
And I can't personally think of a better way to end the day at the beach than a bowl full of clams. And if you're smart, you'll bring someone else along so you can steal off their plate. Because truly, it's always better if it's on someone else's plate.
Clam strips. Lobster salad.
Sure, you can find all sorts of fancy places to see and be seen while you eat out here, but those in the know say that it's these roadside seafood bars that can't be beat, especially when there's a no shirt, no problem policy.
Service first. Hey, look at this lobster.
Would you like to try it? Yum. Here we go.
For the Weather Channel, I'm Katie Tur.
And the locals are just as engaged in the rest of the country. Reporter Julie Martin found that out when she traveled to Michigan to see how folks in the Great Lakes spend their summers.
If being remote is your idea of relaxation, Michigan's Keweenaw Peninsula is your summer paradise. Hours away from any major city, this northern exposure experience is filled with natural wonders.
It gets you out of the city and out among nature, and just it's peaceful, less stressful, more laid back.
One of the peninsula's prized possessions, its many waterfalls, some sporting drops over 70 feet.
In the entire Upper Peninsula of Michigan, there are over 300 waterfalls. And when you speak of the upper portion of the Upper Peninsula, the Keweenaw, where we are, there's over 100. Eagle River Falls is probably one of the most impressive in the Keweenaw Peninsula. It has just about a 60-foot drop.
Like many of the waterfalls here, Eagle River and nearby Jacobs Falls are both visible from the road. Others require a more adventurous spirit. If you're staying on the beaten path, be sure to take a spin along Highway 26 up Brockway Mountain. The 9.5-mile drive at 1,200 feet offers some of the most dramatic scenery in the state.
It's a beautiful scenic drive that goes from Copper Harbor, basically along the ridgetop from Copper Harbor to Eagle River. And it offers gorgeous views and vistas of the valleys, kind of glaciated valleys down below.
And when you're not exploring nature, you can step back in time. The region is rich in mining history dating back to the 1800s.
Towns along the Keweenaw are lined with old mines prime for touring. Just bring a jacket. Temperatures inside can dip into the 40s. Outside, summer averages are on the mild side too, with highs in the low to mid 70s. I'm Julie Martin, the Weather Channel.
This is right about the time of summer when it's all about the water, when you'll find many Americans just chillaxing, trying to stay cool.
I just love being in the water. I love living close to the beach. It just seems like everywhere you go, there's a pool to go to. It's great.
In Charlotte, an amusement park's wave pool sees plenty of action. Deep in the heart of Texas, the local lake is the place to be. And then there are those times when you don't even have to get in the water. You just take comfort in knowing it's there. No summer is complete without at least one trip to a local theme park. Reporter Robert Duns took in the sights and sounds at one of Georgia's most popular destinations.
There's no denying it. Summer is in full swing, and with it comes plenty of great times and fun activities.
I love going to the beach, chilling out in the pool and hanging out with my friends and get to be out of school.
It's just being able to, relax and sleep in.
I get a lot more free time and I love the sunshine.
But hey, summer can be serious business here in the South, where warm temperatures coupled with high humidity days on end. But even the longest heat wave can easily meet its match with a little clever thinking.
Get a shirt tied around your head, or just wear a hat.
I keep my hat dunked in water, when I'm outside, of course.
Are you in the pool quite a bit then, too?
I do try and stay in the pool, yeah.
The pool.
What do you like about the pool?
It feels really good in the summer because it's warm.
My best advice would be drink plenty of water and maybe a hat.
So even though it's hot, maybe just getting outside to splash some water around and enjoy a little fresh air is what makes summer our favorite season.
It's just so warm and beautiful. I love it.
Now, most of the people we spoke to today seem to enjoy the heat of summer, which, if you live in Atlanta, is a very good thing. The city sees average daily high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s 5 months out of the year, with July being the warmest. In Atlanta, I'm Robert Duns for the Weather Channel.
And there's much more to come on this summer special. Coming up, has the economy changed the way we spend our summer vacations?
I love summer because school's out. I get a little break. I get to do all this fun stuff like rock climbing and going on vacations.
Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. I'm celebrating summer because I love being outside in the elements, and I know a lot of you like being outside too. Here's how some of you are celebrating your summertime. 65% of Americans participating in a Harris poll earlier this year say they are planning a vacation this summer. 17% of that group intend to take 3 or more trips this summer. And another survey found that 58% of the folks polled say they're heading to the beach for a summer break. Others in that same poll say they intend to rough it this summer and go on family camping trips. Other destinations that make the list are historic sites, museums, and national parks. A lot of us head to the water during summertime. Hawaii, maybe the Caribbean. Well, a good way to save some money and still have some fun is hop in your car and drive somewhere close to home, like the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Meteorologist Jim Cantori discovered an incredible natural landmark right in the center of Nags Head.
Along North Carolina's Highway 158, you can see it, a mountain of sand.
I wasn't expecting it at all. You think it's just going to be beach and sand and dunes, and you don't actually expect that you have basically sand cliffs that you can just jump off of with a kite, and it's amazing.
Welcome to Jockey's Ridge State Park, home to the tallest natural sand dune system on the East Coast.
We're only about 426 acres. Over time, it's become more and more popular. Lots of kids love to come and run down the sand dunes and play here in the park. The sand here is actually finer than the beach. It's actually made up mostly of quartz, about 90% quartz. It's really fine grains.
The size and shape of the dune is always changing. It can range anywhere from 80 to as high as 100 feet. While daily winds keep the sand moving, it stays generally in the same place. In the winter, the winds primarily blow out of the northeast, and in the summer, primarily out of the southwest.
We have smooth winds, either coming off the ocean or off of the sound. It's just a perfect spot to learn how to fly.
The park is home to the largest hang gliding schools in the world. Adventure seekers of all ages target Nags Head as their vacation destination.
You run with your wing into the wind. That wind will lift you off of your feet, and you'll just glide from the top of the hill all the way down to the bottom.
I was a little scared. I was afraid that I'd fall completely off of it, but afterward it's really fun, and you feel a little like you're in the air flying like a bird.
It takes your breath away. You do feel weightless as you're kind of gliding through. The wind's just underneath of you, and it's, even a couple of seconds, it's such a rush.
This perfect combination of the wind and sand allows you to soar and land like a pro. I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori.
Of course, we couldn't do these shows without consulting our friends at Outside Magazine. They have a thing or two to say about the best that summer has to offer. They've picked what they call the best weekend escapes for under $500. Of course, that place you just saw, North Carolina's Outer Banks, made the cut. Also making the list, a 400-mile stretch of barrier islands between New Orleans, Louisiana, and Tallahassee, Florida. It's called the Redneck Riviera. There's also California's Channel Islands National Park. Some of the best fishing, though, say the editors of Outside Magazine, can be found on Tennessee's Tellico River. The Tellico runs around 55 miles, and Outside editors say it's one of the longest free-flowing trout streams east of the Rockies. The rest of the list has some of the usual suspects, but a lot of pleasant surprises, too. You can see it for yourself at OutsideMagazine.com. And if none of that's quite your speed, maybe this is, especially if you're in the Chesapeake Bay area. The Epic Conditions team offers a lesson in kiteboarding 101.
Kiteboarding is one of the fastest growing and most exciting extreme sports. If you're trying kiteboarding for the first time, the best way to learn is to take a lesson.
If you try to teach yourself, it can be dangerous. You need to seek the advice of a certified professional instructor. What's hardest about kiteboarding is that there's a whole series of skill sets that happen in about 30 seconds.
Mastering the kite is the first step toward becoming a kiteboarder.
Kite is king, so you have to learn how to steer the kite. Just doing a couple exercises on land, launching and landing, making sure you have the kite in the right position. And then we work with just the board, and then we combine the two as a much easier transition into learning how to kiteboard.
Once you perfect each skill separately, you'll be well on your way to carving through the water and launching into the air.
Stick around because there's more to come right after this.
I love summer because it brings the best out of people. It's a time when families and friends can get together and enjoy the outdoors.
Sometimes the elements that make summer so much fun can combine and make for some serious weather threats too. This is what most of us think about when we think of summer, a blistering heat, one that feels like it's just pouring from a fiery sun.
It's not that this is incredible heat, but it's the fact that it's hot so early. We don't think about this type of heat during the month of June. But look at this, tomorrow the heat continues to nudge its way.
In some parts of the country this year, by the time summer actually started, the high temperatures had already set in. Of course, TWC had crews scattered around the country marking the season's arrival. Meteorologist Mike Seidel traveled to a very hot Houston, Texas, while reporter Julie Martin was in the thick of it all in Miami Beach.
I might have to do this a couple times. Well, it has certainly been a great week to hit the beach. Record level heat from the Midwest to the South. Chicago hit its first 90-degree day of the year, but it felt a whole lot hotter than that in other parts of the country. Heat indexes in Iowa hit 120 degrees, 111 in Kansas City. And here in Florida, actual temperatures hit the triple digits in Fort Lauderdale, tying a record. All the product of an upper-level ridge in the middle of the country that has really kept things baking.
This is meteorologist Mike Seidel. I'm in downtown Fort Worth, Texas. And on a hot summer day, this is a great place to be. It's the Fort Worth Water Gardens, 38 feet down to the pool, running water. Where else could you find at least some relief? And that's what Texans have needed for the first week of summer. Summer really came in and hit hard during the first week. Before we were even out of the first 4 days, we had records set across the state, as high as 107 in Austin. Houston, Texas, setting their all-time June high of 104 degrees. Then you throw in the humidity, and it made it feel more like 110. Also in Houston, they're going to be ending up with their driest May and June combined on record. Barely a drop of rain during the month of June around the metro Houston area. Meanwhile, from Austin to San Antonio to Dallas, we were stringing together consecutive 100-degree days. Now, it's typical to see 100-degree weather, but to get so many days that early, boy, talk about being stressful and hitting folks hard as we get into the first few days of summer here in Texas. Will it continue? We'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned to the Weather Channel. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel in Fort Worth for the Weather Channel.
And it's not just the heat that can pose a threat. Remember that the Atlantic hurricane season actually starts in late spring, continues through summer and ends in the fall. Government forecasters made their hurricane predictions earlier this year. 70% chance of 9 to 14 storms, with 4 to 7 of those becoming hurricanes. And of that number, forecasters predict 1 to 3 will be major, meaning a Category 3 or higher. Additionally, during summer months, some communities are plagued by flash flooding, and parts of the western United States may see wildfires. Far more likely for the middle of the country, though, is the severe weather threat that's usually associated with the spring. The first full week of summer this year saw thunderstorms drop up to 2 inches of rain in some Midwestern areas. There's more to come on this summer special right after this. That's going to do it for this summer celebration. Now get out there and do something fun before we have to kiss all this sunshine goodbye. I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. Your local forecast is coming up right after this last look at summer sizzle.
to you for a reason. Now, we're in Aurora, near Peoria and Alameda-ish area, and we've been here for a couple of hours. So behind me is a street that really looks like a river. At this point, the rain has stopped for a minute, so the water has subsided. But let me take you to the pictures that we got here about an hour ago. Hopefully you can see on your screen right now a couple of firefighters rescuing a woman in a low-sitting Honda. She tried to drive through the street. She was driving on Oakland Street, probably southbound, and the water was too high. She had to stop, and thankfully there were 2 firefighters from Aurora here in the neighborhood. They got a call earlier in the day because they thought somebody was stranded, so I asked them why. Well, they were walking the street. So they happened to be at the right place at the right time. So they were able to save. Abby is the mom, and Denver is a little boy who was saved. He is 4 months old. Abby was shaken up a lot, and she was not wanting to talk to us on camera, but absolutely told us that she is incredibly grateful to Aurora firefighters who pulled her and her son out of the car. You know, guys, and it was incredible to watch it unfold right in front of us. So one firefighter was making sure that Abby gets out of the car, and another firefighter was getting Denver in his car seat from the back seat of the car. And so as Abby was being walked out of the car, the other firefighter was getting her son, and she kept looking back and she kept wanting to go and make sure that he is okay. It's one of those moments you are thankful you capture on camera so people can understand how dangerous it is, but it's one of those moments that is really heart-wrenching to watch because you can definitely see the fear of the mom for her little boy as both were being rescued from really fast rising water here in Aurora.
Anastasia Bolta, thank you very much, Anastasia. The threat is not abating. All of the floodwater is considered hazardous, and we have a list of more than 100 road closures now across the metro area.
And so many other places are closing down and closing facilities until tomorrow. We're trying to keep up with them as best as we can. Expo Center, Hoffman Services Center in Aurora, the Lowry Colorado Community College campus, Coal Creek Canyon K-8 school will close tomorrow because of flooding and road closures. That's just some of them I've seen within the last 30 seconds.
It's a long list. All right, Will Ripley now at I-70 and Quebec, where we are watching an incredibly long line of traffic. And Will, we're wondering if you can help solve the mystery for us. We know they have some road damage, but we haven't been able to see exactly what happened.
Mark, I wish you could see. In fact, I'm taking video right now with the camera so that you will be seeing, hopefully within the next few minutes or so when I send it back, what's happening here at I-70 in Quebec. Basically what we have is the entire underside of the exit has eroded away, and so you have this makeshift river of water gushing underneath the I-70 in Quebec eastbound exit. And as a result, the road right now is very unstable. They are anticipating that the road could basically collapse, cave in at any moment. We see CDOT crews out here taking a look, trying to figure out what exactly they need to do. Pardon me, I'm out of breath a little bit because I was carrying the camera away from one area. They told me that they were afraid it was unstable and asked me to move. But what you're basically in danger of seeing here is the road caving in because there's about 4 feet of water rushing underneath it, and the only thing holding up the pavement right now is literally just the road surface itself, a little bit of dirt. I'm looking at a CDOT truck here. They're trying to dump some asphalt into this hole, trying to fill it as best they can, trying to avert what could potentially be a major situation. A Aurora police officer out here told me it's a hard road closure, and they expect that this could stay closed. I-70 at Quebec, the eastbound exit here, could stay closed for several days as a result of this situation. As you can imagine, and as you've seen from your live pictures, traffic is at a standstill. It's really crawling down. As I was driving out here, I actually saw some drivers getting out of their cars in frustration because they just weren't moving. But there's a good reason for that. They want to keep everybody safely away from this road before it could cave in. You've seen pictures from earlier today, other areas where drivers were not so lucky and cars actually went down. They don't want that to happen here in Aurora, guys.
So, Will, we're watching a CDOT camera, and we apologize to our viewers because the CDOT camera operator is trying to be very accommodating here, but they've got one camera to capture an entire field of view here. And we're seeing these very large trucks, and I'm guessing what they're full of asphalt patch. Is that what? Do you think that's what's going to happen? They're going to try to shore it up?
Are you seeing the white truck and then the 2 orange trucks? Is that what you're seeing on the camera there?
Yes, that's what we see.
Yeah, so if you see that white truck, see how it's dumping down that asphalt right there? That's where the hole is. That's the hole that they're trying to fill as quickly as they can because, again, the road is just very unstable right now, and they're afraid that it could collapse.
I still don't understand the enormous backup. I thought I saw an officer out on the highway there as we continue to watch them try to effect a patch here. How is it that eastbound I-70, actually, and westbound I-70, both of them just backed up forever?
Yeah, the eastbound I-70 backup is several miles at least. From what I've been able to tell, and the reason for that is, well, you have it twofold. You obviously have people that are curious, that are turning, trying to see what's happened. You also have lanes that are closed. You have traffic from the access roads trying to get on, and all of these elements are combining. Not to mention the slick roads, the wet weather, to really slow everything down. A lot of downtown offices, I'm hearing just from friends who work downtown, they've already let out for the day to try to give people enough time to get home safely before this gets any worse.
Here's another truck.
And then you think about that's the way that most people take to go to DIA.
Right, exactly, to the airport. I was thinking the same thing as we watch another big truck back up. I assume that one's loaded with asphalt patch too. Well, they're going to dump another one. It must be an enormous hole.
It really is. I would estimate it's at least 4 feet wide and probably 4 feet in height. And you imagine that going underneath the roadway with just maybe a foot or two of asphalt surface, and then some of the ground holding it up, and that's it.
Well, an amazing thing, and that does solve the mystery we've been trying to figure out just with the limited views that we have of it. And I know you're getting great pictures of it, but CDOT being very accommodating at the moment, and we're watching them back up now a large orange CDOT, what probably is a snow plow during the winter, and he's got a full load of asphalt patch, and that's going to go down the hatch here in a second as well.
Yep. In fact, I'm standing probably a good 50 yards away from that truck that you're watching live. That's where I'm taking video. So I was able to get a shot where you could actually see pretty much straight through to the other side of the road. That's how big this hole was, with just the water flowing underneath.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it could have been much, much worse, as Will pointed out. And this is what they're doing. They're getting in there as soon as they can and trying to get that road open. Throughout the metro area, it's a big problem.
Our Will Ripley, always on the story, and he'll have video of that. But if you have someone stuck in it, you'll be able to explain to them why, because it's kind of a mystery for people who are 2 or 3 miles back in that backup.
What's going on?
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back.
Well, all Boulder Valley schools now will be closed on Friday. And Belen, we know you're standing by. I just want to say quickly, CU is closed for classes, but not for business today and tomorrow. But for all practical purposes, they're closed, although they're still trying to get a football game in with Fresno State on Saturday, which is just flabbergasting that they would attempt that. But maybe they think they've got enough roads around the stadium to park everybody.
Yeah, around Folsom Field. But Belen is joining us from just outside of Lyons. She can't get into Lyons because no one is getting in and out. But you did watch the National Guard arrive, about an hour and a half ago.
That's right. That happened about an hour and a half ago. We're just on Highway 66, about half a mile east. The roadblock is just that way, but right now, the weather really has died down as far as talking about the rain that we had just a while ago when those trucks arrived. But I want to show you what's right over my shoulder, because we've been here since very early, Brian Willie, who's behind the camera, and myself, and the force of the water, really, I wish you guys could hear the water and how it's streaming just downhill. I mean, it's impressive to look at it and to look at the strength of it, but when you hear it, that it makes it take on a different life. And right now we're seeing how the very strong water that's flowing out of this culvert has just completely knocked out the foundation from the bottom of that railroad, and even so strong that it also has knocked down some of those wood pylons that are underneath the tracks. It's knocked it down not only in one place, but in several places down the line. And right over those railroad tracks is supposed to be St. Vrain River, which usually on a normal day and on any rain event would be flowing a little swiftly. But right now we're seeing how the water has just completely overflowed St. Vrain River, and it is just so wide. A little glimmer of hope is that the rain, or I should say the water that has just come down this river has receded just a tad. You can see that by the long grass that we can finally see it, and even some of the branches. Now, the water that's draining into that culvert is spreading even onto this road that's right behind me. This is Highway 66. The only way you can get in or out of the city, out of the town, I should say. And a while ago, the only activity we saw going into town was the Colorado National Guard trucks, and you can see those images right now. These were the trucks that we were waiting for since very early. No vehicles have been able to make their way around the city because the water was just too high. Got reports of 4x4s that were inside the town, and the water rose all the way up to the cab. So finally, about an hour and a half ago, we had those Colorado National Guard trucks that just stopped here. They loaded up equipment with the Colorado Task Force 1 and also with FEMA. They were finally able to put a couple of equipment onto the trucks, and they just hauled it that way to be able to help the people that are in town. We've been talking to neighbors earlier today, nervous. They got their stuff ready in the car, and just in case things were to elevate even more, and if there were evacuations, they're ready to go. But this is a scene out here on Highway 66 just east of Lyons. Guys, back to you.
Baylin, can you tell us, are your ceilings lifting at all? Is it the cloud deck, is it getting higher, or is it about the same? I don't think she. That's all right. And we apologize, of course, given the weather. Our communications are not always the best. But there is a large map on 9news.com
where you can
see the temporary flight restrictions. Lyons is in there, but the National Guard has issued this TFR. They've restricted this area over the Boulder-Lyons area to provide a safe environment for search, rescue, and relief. And of course, the trucks are rolling. But you know, we have this very large fleet of National Guard helicopters, which are still on the deck. Skyline can't fly either. But once we get in the air over this thing, then we can make more progress towards, effective rescues if there are more rescues to be made, and certainly more emergency relief.
And those pictures from Greg Berman, where he said where they have the Bluegrass Festival, and it looks like a football field full of water. It's amazing. It's everywhere.
Takes your breath away.
It's what we're seeing in streets that, you have to remind yourself this isn't a residential street or this is a residential street. It actually looks like it's a small river.
Right. And that certainly was the case. We saw it in Expo Park in Aurora this morning, where there were literally literally waterfalls of water flowing down into the park and then going across the street, inundating a church and a neighborhood just beyond that. And just a terrible tragedy for a lot of property owners who are trying to figure out how to keep water out of their homes. And nowhere is that a bigger problem than in Aurora, where Anastasia Bolton has been reporting today.
Planted there for many hours now at this point. Anastasia, tell us what you're seeing now at that point.
You know, guys, this is actually something that will put a smile on your face. This is one of those things where a television crew is at the right place at the right time. It doesn't happen very often, so I am relishing this moment. Joining us live is 16-year-old Braden Armstrong, who has something to show us. Braden, go ahead. Do your thing. Go ahead,
I just caught this fish straight from the street, which has turned into a river.
So what kind of fish do you think this is, Braden?
I don't know. I'm not a fish expert.
So let's put her back, or him back in there so it doesn't die, and kind of walk me through as you did earlier. So were you walking home from school, and then what happens?
Well, I saw a guy trying to catch a fish, which was under a car at the moment, and he seemed really trying to catch the fish. So I was like, I should try and help. So I went and helped, and I caught it once, and then it slipped out of my hands, caught it again. Same thing happened, and third time I caught it, and you were here.
It's a magical moment, Braden, that I'm sharing this with you. So let's talk a little bit about where exactly you caught the fish. So let's kind of point, you caught it across the street over there, right?
Yes, just right by that tree.
And we ordinarily don't catch fish on a street walking home, right?
No.
So where do you suppose this fish is from?
Well, either a fish pond, like some people have been saying it's from, or Utah Park.
All right.
I should say Utah Lake. It's,
right.
Yeah.
It's huge now.
Yeah.
Do you go to Overland?
Yes, I do.
I got you. So, what are you going to do with that?
I don't know yet. Still haven't thought that through.
All right, Braden, thank you so much. Braden Armstrong, 16 years old, catches a fish. Let's kind of show you the fish again. Braden, can you help us out? So we'll leave you with this, folks. I don't know if we need to name him something, if he's going to survive the day, but catching a fish in the middle of Aurora down a busy street. This is definitely a first, I think, for a lot of people here. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Anastasia. I am a fishologist. That is a carp that they found, and we've had several reports of fish moving through streets this morning. Much as we see during wildfire helicopter drops when they find toads and fish and everything up along the forest floor, just the same crazy thing happens in a flood.
Instead of cars, we have carp, going down the road.
We have a carp, yes, that washed out of a nearby stream somewhere and now is wondering what happened to his home. All right, we're going to take another break as we continue to follow these remarkable developments across the Front Range.
And find out what's coming weather-wise from Kathy in just a bit.
Welcome back. Meteorologist Kathy Sabin here in the 9 News Weather Center. We are continuing our flooding coverage with flash flood warnings posted for many portions of the metro area, Boulder and Fort Collins. Outside right now, the rain has moved back into the Denver metro area, snarling traffic on I-25. One way to get around if it's difficult by car is paddle boat, and that's what a lot of folks are having to do because you cannot drive through the water. It is so deep in portions of the metro area this afternoon. And in the high country, it's just dangerous. The Big Thompson is raging. There have been some evacuations up that way as the river is running fast and running very high, and travel is not advised in and out of Estes Park if you can even get up there right now with all of that water coming down. We do have thunder showers that are coming up from the south, and we do have flood warnings in effect for Denver, Centennial, Boulder, and areas in and around the Fort Collins area. As a matter of fact, an aerial flood warning posted for Aurora and Denver through 8:30 tonight. More thunder showers developing between Castle Pines North, the Pinery, and Centennial, and we've already had major flooding issues in the El Dorado Canyon area, Boulder area, Lyons, and Jamestown, with a brief lull in the action and a heavier band of rain expected to move in from the southeast between now and 9 o'clock tonight. We are probably 12 to 18 hours from seeing really any relief or any major shift in this weather pattern, and really the bullseye for trouble, ground zero, is Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, and Hudson, as these storms are migrating up around an area of low pressure located over the southern Great Basin, producing heavy rain as it lifts north toward Idaho. You get that moist south to southwest flow, southeast winds at the surface, and up to 5 inches of rain in the last few hours in areas like Aurora. So we set the stage for more heavy rain tonight, with some drying tomorrow as the low pushes northeast into Wyoming. Mild, some drying in the mid-levels, but it's really going to be a temporary scenario for us. And some of the rainfall estimates on top of what we have already seen, it's just going to be devastating, with another inch or two possible between Castle Rock, Parker, and Bennett, and then extending up into Boulder, Netherland, Allens Park, and even into Estes Park. This is between now and midnight, so certainly the potential for more rain. Let me take you forward in time. Monitor the areas in yellow and orange, and watch at 7 o'clock how a second wave comes up, Colorado Springs and Lyman, then pushes right back in. Boulder, Evergreen, up to Estes Park, continues overnight. 6:30 in the morning, you have rain, but by mid-morning, some drying. Not a dry day tomorrow, but a drier day tomorrow afternoon. Kind of the beginning of some changes for us. Tonight, flash flood watch for Denver. We continue with the threat for heavy flooding rain. We'll have thunder, lightning, and patchy fog. Travel not advised if you can avoid it at all. Heavy rain and thunder this evening into the early morning hours. A little bit of drying tomorrow, mid-70s. We can get some midday clearing. Drier day on Saturday, not entirely dry. Rain returns Sunday. It's really, Kim and Mark, not until Monday and Tuesday of next week that we say goodbye to this crazy weather pattern and then get back to that wonderful September weather that we enjoy. September, I think it's our sunniest month on average, our driest month, and it has been anything but fun and sunny. It's just crazy.
This last week, it's just been nuts. I mean, and it was after the heat. I mean, I couldn't help but think about Governor Hickenlooper, speaking to us 3 months ago, dealing with devastating wildfires, and now we're dealing with floods.
I know. And we had the record high temperatures almost every day last week, and now we've been in the 60s, and we can't turn the rain off after 4 days.
All the extremes, really remarkable.
Yeah.
Those are incredible pictures from Big Thompson, by the way. That's a very scary thing.
Well,
up
they're
there.
saying this is I've heard the term 100-year flood and 500-year flood, and we're going to look into that because, Kim, you've been your whole life, right?
Yeah, I mean, Big Thompson is the only thing I think anybody remembers of significance here in Colorado that I've been, but obviously there were before then, but nothing like this.
And the pictures tell it better than we can.
Yeah,
that's for
those
sure.
are incredible, and they've completely replumbed it, and still they're getting that kind of flooding. That's pretty alarming, no question. Hey, Kathy, look at this. We have a look at flooding at the St. Vrain Greenway in the city of Longmont. You can see the gazebo areas under a lot of water, and the fence is almost all the way underwater at some points, and this is somewhat similar to what we saw at Expo Park in Aurora, although I must say Expo Park in Aurora, there were no structures visible except for the large steel signs that were at the park entrance, but this is also very serious flooding from the city of Longmont.
So this is a real popular trail in that area. People go up there and hike and enjoy it, and no evidence of a trail. All you see is water.
Yeah, all underwater. Incredible. Just about everything is out of its banks. As we continue our coverage this morning, more picture of the flood damage along the Front Range. So stay with us. 9 News, our special coverage of this unfolding disaster continues.